friends, welcome to a super sunshiny happy hour with Becky. I hope you are having a fantastic day so far, and I hope wherever you are, it is as sunny and bright, and you have as many birds chirping as I'm hearing. They are all around me. All right, well, we are going to go ahead and get started with our happy hour by saying 5 things we're grateful for, and today our letter is G. And by special request, Brandy, I did see your comment. We got a foot tambourine. Let me just pop that puppy on real quick. Woo! My foot is a little muddy. There we go. Alright, so foot tambourine. You know what? I should have listed foot tambourine yesterday on F Day. Did not even think of it. Alright, but today is the letter G. My marker's having some trouble here. G. Alright, so the first thing I would like to be grateful for today is grace. Often when we talk about grace, of course we talk about God's grace toward us as people, which of course I'm hugely grateful for. But also, I'm grateful that we can extend grace to one another. And if grace is a word that is kind of hard for you to understand, I know growing up as a kid, even as a teenager, it was one of those words we threw around a lot, but that I didn't totally get. Basically, grace is when we extend kindness to someone, especially when we feel like we don't deserve it. So that little bit of extra kindness, that little bit of extra love, especially when somebody doesn't deserve it. And of course, God extends so much grace to us, and in turn, we can extend grace to one another. And especially right now with everything going on, I'm so grateful for all the grace that we can shower on the world. One of my probably most used prayers comes straight from the Bible, 3 little words, grace and peace. And I found myself so much over the last few days and weeks just whispering that prayer throughout the day, grace and peace, praying for that for myself, for those around me, for the world. And so today I hope you have a chance to experience some grace and also to extend some grace. Alright, that got a little deeper than intended, but there we go. 2, I am grateful for, okay, this is going to sound a little weird. I'm grateful for gratefulness. What I mean by that, I am so grateful that there's such an abundance of things to be grateful for. We're on letter G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, 7 days. 7 letters that we've said 5 things. So in the last week, we've been grateful for 35 different things. That's a lot of things to be grateful for. And there's so much more around us that we haven't even said that we're grateful for. I'm grateful that there's so much that we can be grateful for. And also on top of that, I am grateful that when we have an attitude of gratefulness, it does such beautiful things for our mind, for our emotional health, for our spirit. So I am grateful for gratefulness. There's something I was just thinking and got distracted. Giraffes. I'm grateful for giraffes. I said on E, when we were grateful for E things, I said that when I lived in Kenya, I got to pet an elephant, which is true. I also got to pet some giraffes and feed them. And they have these long black tongues and they roll, like they lick you and whew. Anyway, but giraffes, they're such a super fun animal. They look so weird and they're just so fun and wonderful. Alright, so giraffes. Grandparents, I'm grateful for grandparents. I only have one grandparent still with us. Mamu and Grandpa George, if you're watching, hello. I love you and miss you. Hope you're staying inside. But I'm so grateful for all of my grandparents and all of the memories with them and the lessons that they taught us and just much bigger than we are, so much bigger than anything we can even understand, but that God loves us so much. So let me know what G things you are grateful for. Put them in the comments so that I can be grateful with you for your G things. Things that start with the letter G. Share them with your friends or family, the people that are around you, and you can be grateful for together for lots of things that start with the letter G. Alright, so I'm going to move this right over here. I don't know if that's still on the camera or not. It's fine. Alright, and I'm going to bring over my big old bouncy ball. So it's Thursday, and I thought, whoo, here we go. So last Thursday we had story time with Becky. I figured, hey, story time with Becky again. Why not? So today I'm gonna have a story time. That was just for you, Brandy. Okay, so we're gonna have story time with Becky again today. And again, I don't want to read you a book. There's plenty of people reading books. For all you Kid Point kiddos, Miss Pam had story time today as well, and she read a super great book. So Kid Point kiddos, check that out. You can see Miss Pam read you a story. So Becky's not going to read a book out of a storybook. I'm just going to tell you another exciting adventure from the life of Becky. So my mom actually reminded me of this one. Mother and Daddy, if you're watching, hello. So my mom actually reminded me of this one the other day. I forget what we were talking about. Anyway, so let us set the stage. Once upon a time, long, long ago, in the late 80s or early 90s, late 80s, in a land far, far away called Wichita, Kansas, there's a little girl named Becky. Now, Becky, she was a shy girl. That's my puppy's out there if you happen to see her wandering about. Becky was a shy little girl. She was also a fluffy little child. She didn't like the spotlight being on her. It's real important to this story. So, Becky went to school at Bryant Elementary, and she was in first grade in Miss Klein's class. Miss Klein seemed so old to me, but her daughters would come and visit, and they were in college. So really, she wasn't that old. Like, what, 40s, 50s? I don't know. Anyway, I loved Miss Klein. I thought she was wonderful. Well, as elementary schools do, we had a school-wide assembly, and we all had to gather in the gymnasium. Now again, as a 6-year-old child, the gymnasium felt massive to me. And so we go in, and as first graders, we got to sit up front because we were the youngest kids. I don't know where the kindergartners were. No idea. But in my mind's eye, we were right up front as first graders. Maybe it was because I was a not particularly tall first grader. I don't know. Anyway, the first graders got to sit up right up front. Now my brother, John Paul, who was 1 grade ahead of me, he was in 2nd grade. So he was sitting, his class was right behind me in the 2nd grade section. And he got to witness the entire debacle that I'm about to lay out for you. So, imagine 6-year-old, bespectacled, that means I wore glasses, bespectacled little fluffy Becky sitting crisscross applesauce on the front row of the gymnasium. Crisscross applesauce is tough on a bouncy ball. Crisscross applesauce in the front row of the auditorium with all the school behind her. Today's assembly was super special. It was firemen. Every kid loves firemen, right? The firemen came in, they had their fire hats on and their fire suits, and I think they brought one of the big water hoses. Like, it was a whole situation. We were all so excited to see the firemen in the assembly. Firemen in the assembly. We didn't even care what they were doing. It was firemen. So it turns out, I think even, if I remember correctly, they had a mascot like fire dog, like the Dalmatian, like a person in a Dalmatian suit. If I could be misremembering that, but I think there was even a Dalmatian like mascot in a suit, like in the Dalmatian suit with like a fire hat on. Anyway, best assembly of the year because it was firemen with a big dog mascot. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that when you're 6 years old, right? So we're sitting there and they're teaching us, there are bugs everywhere, y'all. They're teaching us fire safety, what you should do and what you shouldn't do, and basically stay away from fire because it will hurt you. Now, we get to the end of the assembly and they're going to demonstrate to us what we should do if you catch on fire. Now, first of all, that's kind of a terrifying topic to teach children. What if you catch on fire? I mean, yeah, it's important, but I mean, really, that's kind of scary. Anyway, so they're going to teach us what to do if you catch on fire. And what did they teach us in the late 80s? They taught us stop, drop, and roll. That was the word of the day. Stop, drop, and roll. That's what everybody learned. Based on how much they taught 80s kids to stop, drop, and roll, you would think people just spontaneously combusted. I mean, I feel like that was a constant lesson in my childhood. Stop, drop, and roll. Anyway, also, side note, I did some research. They don't teach that anymore because kids would get confused and think if their house caught on fire, they should just stop, drop, and roll. So kids were in burning houses, stopping, dropping, and rolling on the floor. Don't do that. It's bad news. So research has shown us that stop, drop, and roll is not the way to go. Anyway, back to the story. So here we are, little fluffy, bespectacled 6-year-old Becky, crisscross applesauce on the gymnasium floor, and they're teaching us stop, drop, roll, stop, drop, roll, stop, drop, roll. I think they even had some hand motions. It was like stop, drop, roll, stop, drop, roll, stop, drop, roll. Little Becky's fine with the hand motions. Everybody's doing it. Sitting down here like stop, drop, roll, stop, drop, roll, stop, drop, roll. I'm totally fine with that. So then they tell us they have an exciting thing for us to do before we leave to go back to our classes. They tell all the first graders to stand up. So we all stand up, and I'm thinking, woo, time to go back to class. I get to read or something. No, they tell all the first graders they want us to practice stop, drop, roll. But not just with our hands, not just with our words, but with our bodies. I was horrified, people. Absolutely horrified. Here I am, 6 years old, fluffy, bespectacled, standing in front of the entire school, and they want me to stop, drop, and roll out of the gymnasium in front of everyone. Are you kidding me? Why do you want me to stop, drop, and roll my body out of the gymnasium? Why can't I walk out like a human with dignity? I don't understand. I still, 30 years later, I don't understand it. I'm still marred internally by this activity. But being the mostly obedient child that I was, and not wanting to draw further attention to myself by refusing, I stopped, I dropped, and I rolled my way out of the gymnasium. I don't know if y'all can still see me. I stopped, I dropped, and I rolled all the way out of the gymnasium. I was so embarrassed. If I remember correctly, I was so embarrassed. I didn't even tell my parents about it, but you better believe it was the first thing out of my brother's mouth when we got in the car that afternoon, because you will remember he was in 2nd grade. He was sitting right behind me watching. I'm sure I turned bright red. He was sitting in the group right behind me watching as I had to stop, drop, and roll out of the gymnasium. We're not talking one roll, people. I just did a single roll. We're not talking one roll. I had to roll literally all the way out of the gymnasium into the hallway. What kind of nonsense craziness was that? Anyway, I've been talking for a while. So that is the traumatizing story of how sweet little innocent 6-year-old Becky had to stop, drop, and roll out of the gymnasium. So I hope you enjoyed that. That was our story time for the day. So happy days. Remember, if you catch on fire, stop, drop, and roll is good. If you are not on fire, there's no need to stop, drop, and roll. Woo! All right, so I'm now covered in wet grass, so that's fine. So our big word for the day, our iguana foot eraser blew away. Our big word for the day, here we go. Our big word for the day was recommended by Sara, I always get your last names confused. Hendershot Hillegass, Hendershot. Which way do we go with that? Hold on. Sara Hendershot Hillegass. There it is. Sara, who I went to grad school with, recommended that I use a word from yesterday. And now I'm going to forget. Okay, so you guys will recall, maybe, I misspelled yesterday's big word. I threw an S in vacillate. And then I came back later and I added an addendum. So that is going to be our big word for the day. Addendum, which I think I've spelled correctly. I'll go back and check. Addendum means when you add something at the end, especially like if something was forgotten or left out or whatever. You might have an addendum. As yesterday we had an addendum on the video. You might have an addendum to a book or whatever. Now what's super fun about this word is that addendum means one. If you have more than one, if it's plural, it doesn't become addendums, it becomes addenda. That's the plural. Addendum, addenda. Isn't that fun? It has to do with the Latin root too. Won't get into that. But that's a super fun word. Addendum is when you have one addition. Addenda is when you have multiple additions of something. So that is our big word for the day. I hope you enjoyed story time. I hope you get to go out and have some sunshiny fun today. Wherever you are, hopefully it's sunshiny. And I hope you find lots of things to be grateful for today. All right, can't wait to see people in person, to give you guys some big hugs, some high fives, some fist bumps, mostly lots of hugs. That's what we're looking for, lots of hugs. But hopefully that'll be soon. All right, love you. Have a great day. Talk to you later.